Hi everyone, today I'm going to be playing Legends Untold, which is a card-based RPG game. Whoops, I forgot to mention that this is on Kickstarter right now, so I'll put a link on the screen so you can take a look and decide if you want to back it. And I will say this is a prototype. You can tell from the box that this is, it's just card. It's to show you what it will be like when it's produced. And all of the cards and things, they are laminated, which hopefully doesn't glare too much for you. But it's just, to give the impression of what the game will be like once it's actually ready. So there's some placeholder artwork, the components are laminated, so just bear that in mind. But I hope that it will show you how the game plays. In this case, this is the cave environment, so it's a cooperative cave delve for 1 to 4 unlikely heroes, because you can see I am playing the Forge Hand, who is just, a humble smelter, but he has been called to action. And Marty over there is the curious student that just wants to know more about the world. So this is a 2-player game I'm playing at the moment. The game goes from 1 to 4, and there are kind of little advantages it gives you based on the player count. If you're playing solo, it recommends you take a couple of things. If you're playing 2-player, it recommends you start at level 3. There is a kind of a campaigny thing going on in this game where if you succeed at the adventure, depending on which win it is, you get a certain thing. You might get upgrades, you might get to upgrade your weapon, you get some new kit, you might get some new skills. So in this case, we've started at level 3. So I've got a rope here, and I've got an extra weapon skill. Marty decided to just upgrade his spear rather than take something new, and he got another weapon skill as well, but we'll see what all of that does as we go along. So I am playing the first scenario of the game, although you can just... This event deck is full of different scenarios, and this is just the cave version of the game. As I said, there are multiple versions of the game that will be available, and you can kind of shuffle them around. You can use the enemies from one with the events from the other, and really mix it up. So I am playing the missing adventurers for now. So several adventurers have gone missing. Recover the treasure map they took with them to the nearby caves. Then it shows us some setup rules. Remove the boss and the deputy. I've already done that. Then the rules for success in this scenario. We need to resolve at least 5 locations, then find both the tattered map and warning note loot items that are hidden in that adventure deck. And this gives us a little timer for the game. So we put 6 cards in the event deck, and that is going to it's not going to rush us around, but it is going to start punishing us if we take too long, because then we resolve the event on the last card if we run out of this deck. And something bad will happen. Not the Bat Swarm, because that's on this card, but something similarly bad for us. There's a little reference sheet to show you the hazards and what the symbols mean for this particular scenario. So the first thing we need to do is journey onwards. We decide the party order, and in this case, there is the scout at the front, the guard at the back, and everyone else is kind of in the middle. In a 2-player game, obviously, one of you's the scout, one of you's the guard. So I think Marty will scout things out, and me with my axe, I will bring up the rear and make sure no one's following us. So we start in this little crossroads here, and we can decide which exit we want to take. If we want to take this exit, we're going to have to resolve a barrier first and see what's behind it, which could be something nasty or could be something nice. So I think I'm going to take one of these paths, and the choice you've got here is how bright the path is. You're going to have to make a check on the new location, and if you pick a really bright space, you're probably going to have to make a harder check. So I think I'm just going to go down here for now. In this is ambient. So before I draw the card, I've decided I'm going down here. Before I draw the card, I decide if I want to sneak. Well, if we want to sneak. And if we want to sneak, the downside is we need to spend a time from the event deck, but we get a +2 to the roll that we have to make. And I think I'm going to sneak to start with, because we don't know what awaits us. So I spend a time from the event deck there, and we reveal the new location, and it has no ambient entrances. We try to match up as best we can. So I'll just put it like this for now. So we match up the entrance kind of there, and we are going into a bright entrance. So Marty needs to make a scouting test, and he needs a 13. You roll 3d6 for most of the tests in this game. He gets a +2 because of the sneaking that we did. Although we can use skills if we have them. I have a nice caving skill. It does some other nice things, like it can help me with climb tests and bypass tests, but the Into Darkness skill means I can reduce the ambience level from bright to ambient. So the number that Marty would need to succeed instead of 13 would be 10. So I think I'll do that. So I exhaust it, that's what this symbol means. So I can't use that again until we have rested. So Marty needs to make the roll. He needs a 10 and he gets +2 to the roll. And that'll do very nicely. That's 10 without the modifiers. So it's a good job I used that skill. He wouldn't have made it otherwise. And you look at how the difference between your roll and the number you needed. So Marty got 10 +2, which is great because now we are alert. If you roll on the number you need or one above, you are bold, which is, it's nice. If you roll below the number, you're careless, and you don't want to be careless. But being alert is very nice as well. So now we start to resolve the symbols on the card. So up here we have some of the perils, and this is just a symbol that might come into effect later on. So on this card we have a foe. So we go to the adventure deck and we draw until we find a foe. We discard, oh, there we go. If we had loot, we would set it aside and that would be our reward for defeating the foe. But we have found a foe right now anyway. It's a Goblin Brave. This tells us that it's ranged. This tells us how it attacks. And this tells us some modifiers to us. So anyone attacking them with ranged gets -1. With, swords gets +2. And they will do a damage to us. There are 2 goblins in a 2-player game. And they will flee at the sign of one of them dying. So now we have combat, we have the engagement round. Because we are alert, we have advantage on rolls. Advantage means that we get +2 to our attacks, or we get -2 if someone does a ranged attack against us, like these goblins might try to do. So first of all, we select attacks. We decide if we are going to be ranged heroes or melee heroes. We have the option here because the axe can be, swung or thrown, and the spear can be thrust or thrown. So I am going to decide to be melee, and I think Marty will as well, because if we are melee heroes, we engage the ranged enemies, and they don't get to make a ranged attack in advance, but they might get a chance to attack when we attack them, as you'll see. So now, each of us can attack using either our weapon or one of our weapon skill cards. If there's this exclamation mark here, it means you have to decide to use this before you roll, whereas I could use Flurry later on. So I think I'm going to leave it for now, and I need a 13 to hit. Remember, I got a +2 because we have advantage, so I am going to roll for my axe, and this table tells us what's going to happen based on the result. So I have got a 13, so without the +2, I am fine. So I hit, there, nothing else happens. I hit, I kill a goblin because it's got 1 health. And so the Goblin Braves are down to 1. They don't break just yet because Marty gets a chance to attack, and he needs a 13 as well. He has advantage, so he rolls. Oh, terribly! Oh no! So he rolls 3, 4, 5. So he just takes a damage. The remaining goblin just, swiped back, and he is going to have to drain one of these cards and flip it the other way. I think he will flip this one. And he can heal when we rest, but for now he has lost the use of one of his cards because he apparently stabbed himself with his spear. So the Goblin Braves check their morale, and 1 is dead. They break when there's only 1 left, so the Goblin Braves run away and we are victorious. Sadly, they didn't leave any loot behind, but, what are you going to do? So next in the location there is a barrier. So if we want to go this way, we're going to have to resolve this barrier. We see what it is, but we don't have to do it. It's a hidden entrance, a wall. You can make out a door, but how does it open? So we have the options to probe, spot, or brute. And based on this, we'll need to make different rolls. So if we want to go that way, we can do this and possibly get some rewards. But also there will be something behind this barrier. Maybe it will be loot, maybe it will be another enemy. So I think we will we'll try and open this hidden entrance. So we're either using touch, IQ, or brawn. Now, I'm quite good at touch. I get a +3 to touch. Marty is very good at IQ. Whereas touch needs a much lower roll. We only need 12 for touch, whereas IQ would need 16. So I'm going to try and probe. Where's the hidden switch? You search the wall carefully. Let's see how I do. I need a 12 and I have a +3. So I get 10 plus 3 is enough. So we are now bold rather than alert. That's what this I means. And we spend a time, even though I was successful, we spent time searching that wall, but now this barrier is open. It flips to the side because maybe something else will happen. We can go down this way now. So let's see what was behind the barrier. Oh no, it's a trial behind the barrier. Water has ruptured the roof, thundering down the steps ahead. So we can try and squeeze through with grace, we can try and climb the steps with guts, or we can climb over the top to the bridge with brawn. So if we were alert, we would get a +2, but we became bold by not going for the middle option there. So we don't get the +2 in this case. I think in this case we are both the same for will, and we only need a 13. So let's try our will. We get +2 to whatever the roll is, and we need a 13 in total. So that is 12 plus 2. Yeah, we make that, and there is no outcome in here. This column would be if we failed at it. We can try again, but we would lose 2 health before we could carry on. So we have succeeded at the team trial. We have completely exhausted everything in this location. We've resolved the location, and we get to recuperate. So anything exhausted gets flipped back up, and we can spend time to heal. For every time that we spend, every person can undrain 1 card, or one person can undrain 2 cards. The campsite on the location means that we get a 1 reduction to the cost of our resting. So it costs nothing for Marty to just heal that 1. So now we venture forth again. So we might as well go down this way because we open this barrier. So let's go down here. It's bright, unfortunately, but I could use my thing again. So there is no bright entrance though, so we match to ambient, and we will be testing for ambient. And ambient is 10, so I could use my ability, but ambient to dark is still a 10 that we need. We didn't decide if we were sneaking or not. And I can't really decide that now because I've already seen the card. So let's make the scouting check. And that's, yes, very nicely done. So it's more than 2 above the 10, so we are alert again. So we defeat the perils. This is bats, and it's triggered by an event, so we don't have to worry about that. We have another foe to fight on the downside. Oh, we do get some loot, though, if we manage to defeat him. We get rid of trials. We don't need one of them right now. We've found some goblin drunks, so these are not ranged. So they are drunk. For each 2 damage received by this foe, increase the damage they deal by 1. Oh, wow. So hopefully we can take these guys out quite quickly. You get a bonus to ranged. We got a bonus to melee as well. Marty should have had a different result, I think. Oh, well. It's too late for that now. So we just go straight into combat. I'm going to be melee. Marty is going to be ranged, though. He has 2 ammo on his upgraded spear before it has to be drained for the rest of combat. So we are alert, thanks to the good scouting roll. So Marty needs a 13 to succeed here, and he just does this before anything else. So, wow, he gets a 14 plus 2, definitely, oh, plus another 1 there. He definitely takes out a goblin drunk. So they have received 1 damage. And for me, I will just attack melee with my axe. So I need a 13. I've got a +2. Wow, some crazy rolls going on here. Yes, I take 1 out, but the goblin drunks are not so easily broken. They've been very bold by the drinking. So, but now if they deal any damage, they're going to deal 2 damage because they have received 2 damage. And well, 2 have fallen because of it. So we do another round of combat, although now we are not getting the advantage. So Marty needs a 13 again, and this is his last shot. He might as well do melee, because if we carry on, then at least his weapon won't be drained. So he needs a 13. He gets a 11, 12, Oh no, he should have done ranged, because then he would have killed it. So he advances on the enemy. That's what this means. So it means I get an advantage on my roll. So we do my axe, and I get 10 plus the 2 from Marty's advantage that he gave me. So I get advance, and there's not a lot I can do about that. So Marty now gets advantage on his roll. So he's doing melee again. He gets a 13. Yes, he's taken the last goblin drunk out. There we go. They are done for. And we get these lob gourds. So we can use this as a weapon, and we can discard it to add 3 to a move test, add 1 to a mend test, or use as the ranged weapon that we saw up there. We do have a search zone in this location, and before we make the search, we decide, do we want to do a quick search or a careful search? If we do a quick search, it costs us no time, but we are careless for cards that we draw, and that could be bad. If we do a careful search, we spend 1 time, and we are bold for the card that we draw. I think we are going to spend the time, and we are going to be bold. So we draw 3 cards from the adventure deck, and we get rid of foes and trials, but we keep traps. Oh dear, we've found traps. So first of all, there is a ceiling crush. If we had been careless, this would have been triggered, and the people in the middle would have taken 2 damage, which is okay in a 2-player game, I suppose. So with this ceiling crush, Marty could use his candle call from Arcane Theory and make some light, because if we have light, we get a +1 to our rolls here. So neither of us are great at brawn, but we need a lower roll for it. If we do the harder thing, the disarm it, we get a time back. Now later on, there will be cards removed from this event deck to make the timer shorter, and we can put cards back in the deck by doing things that give us this result. Since we don't have any time to put back in there, we would just get to ignore the next time we spend time. I think we're going to go for brawn though. So we need a 13, and for brawn, I get a +2, so I should do it. We get a +1 because of the light as well. So with a +3, I need 13. And that's 12. So +3, definitely done. There is no benefit there. We have just avoided the ceiling crush trap. So that goes away. Then there has been a spiked pit, a crude trap modified with a delay mechanism. If not triggered, we didn't trigger it because we aren't careless, remember? We spent that time. Marty would take a damage here. The scout would take a damage. So we can leap and use grace, which we are not good at. We get a +1 for grace. Or we can probe and use touch, which I can do, and we can try and disarm it. I think we're going to probe, though. I think we're going to leap, sorry. So I get a +2, and then grace we get a +1. So it's a +3 again, and I need a 12. So that is a 12. So we spend a time, though, and time is running out. There's only 2 cards left in the timer, and then something is going to happen. But we avoided the spiked pit. And what was all of that avoiding traps for? It was to find the captured merchant. You are met with the sight of a man in chains. I escaped the guards, but I need to get out of here. Test lead, will, +0, or coerce, will, -2. And we start off here. He's got an attitude towards us. He's better off on his own. He clatters away, and it's going to cost us a time. I can make checks to go up stages on this and get something better and better. So I can try and pick his lock first using touch. I should do that because I get +3. I can't see anything with probe bonuses. So I will just try and make this check. I get a +3 and I need a 14. Do I break his chains? That is a 10. Unfortunately not, I get 13. So I don't get a +3 to the roll. So testing will, we both have 2. So I'll try and chat with him. So I need to beat 10 to advance to the next level with a +2. And that is 7 + 2 is 9. Oh no, he is, I couldn't break his chains, and I couldn't get him on our side. He's better off on his own. He clatters away and wastes our time. But that is this location resolved. So we just, Marty, unexhaust his card there, and we can venture forth on a new turn. So let's go down here, the dark path, and let's see what we find. So we are coming into ambient. I will use my thing so it's dark, so we only need a 10. We didn't sneak because I forgot again. So let's roll, and so 10, 12. Yes, We get it and we are alert because we get a plus. We got 2 more than we needed. So we need to resolve an obstacle. So we draw from the adventure deck until we find an obstacle. So we found the tattered map that gets set aside, and if we defeat the obstacle, then we will get the loot as a reward, and we need that tattered map for the scenario. So we have found a loaded rockfall, and if we have light, we can get a +2. We are alert, we get a +3 to this. We didn't trigger it because we are alert. I think Marty will create some light. And so we get +5 to the roll. I think I'll try touch. So we get +8 because of my 3 on touch. And hopefully we can just disarm it and not spend any more time. Yes, we definitely make it there. We conquered the rockfall, and hidden amongst those rocks was the tattered map that we need. So next we found some barriers again. We draw the barriers. So here there is an old wooden door. We can choose to have a look in there and see what's behind it. I think, yeah, let's do it. We could see if we did brawn. Neither of us are that good at brawn. We get a +2 there, but then we would stay alert. I think let's try it. So I need a 16 and I get +2 +4. So I need at least a 12. Wow, 15. There we go. So ready. Okay, now you burst through the old wooden door. And we are still alert. Let's see what was hiding behind that wooden door. A cave wisp. Okay, a small light descends from the ceiling, bobbing about the party. She seems harmless. So I can test lead, will. See, we both have a +2 for will. Or communicate, charm. We are both terrible at charm. So we will, it's the same either way though. So it's either +2 with -1 or +1 with 0. So let's communicate with charm. We need to beat a 10 and I have a +1. Wow, that is not good. So that is a 6 +1, so 7. I didn't make the 10 again. I'm terrible at these. So you're mean, I'm going to tell. You are careless for your next foe. So I'll put this to the side here to remember we are careless and we're going to be at disadvantage in the next combat. What else is there to see? There's search. Let's do a careful search. Unfortunately though, spending this time is the last event. So this event happens. Resolve the top foe card in the discard pile. If there is no foe in the discard pile, ignore this event. All locations with activated barriers indicated become flooded. So any bee barriers would become flooded, and we treat them as if they have that icon on them. Luckily, there's no bees out yet. Not really many barriers yet. So we have to fight the first foe in the discard pile, which is the drunks again, and we are careless. So we get -2 to our first rolls. So Marty is going to be ranged, and actually, he will use his weapon skill Hurl and ignore disadvantage on his next roll. So he just gets to roll as normal. So let's see, he gets 10 +1 for ranged, so 11. And he advances, so he gives me advantage. So that cancels out my disadvantage. And I can use charge to gain advantage. I think I'll do that. So I get a +2 to my roll, although I am not doing ranged. So I get 11 +2, so that is definitely 13. That is a damage dealt to the goblin drunks. So Marty will try again. He'll try ranged again, I think. Yeah, it's his last chance though to use the spear. Yeah, he's going to use ranged, and then it's drained. Oh dear, that wasn't very good. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. +1, so 10. He advances, so he gives me advantage again. Although I actually get advantage this time. So let's use timed strike. If you score a hit or critical result, increase the damage by 1. That would be nice. Because then we would just finish off both of the goblin drunks. I have advantage. I need a 13. I get 9. 10, 11, 12, +2, that is enough, and I finish off the goblin drunks before they got a chance to get nasty. Okay, so that was the event. Now, we remove one of these event cards from the game and shuffle it all up, and the new event deck is 1 shorter. So there is a timer counting down on us. So that was spending a time to do the search. So we're bold for the search. We draw 3. And we get rid of foes and trials. And we have found a Rune Stone, a glowing green Rune Stone. Its face cracked but still intact stands upright in the middle of the cave. Its surface seems to shimmer as you stare at it. So we can test solve IQ to decipher the runes and see what result we get on this table. So Marty, as a student, is very good at IQ. He's very clever. He's got a +3 to this. And because he has a matching symbol here, you see that we both have this symbol there, he has mastery, so he gets to roll 4 dice and keep his best 3. So he gets a +3 to it anyway. So let's just take this 1 away, and he gets 15 +3. Wow, this is actually a map. Look at and then return the top 2 location cards, then gain alert next time you scout. So we don't need to roll next time we scout. And we see what's coming up for us. So there's an obstacle and a barrier in there, and there is some curiosities going on in there. Okay, that was the search, and there are barriers. So we did a barrier, didn't we, over there? So that old wooden door was open. There's another barrier. If we want to go out this way, we're going to have to do this barrier. There's a narrow descent. So a steep ascent up a tight passage strewn with debris. So we get a +1 because we have light. We can use IQ with 14. That might be the thing to do because Marty gets a +3 to that and it wouldn't cost us time. So he gets +4 altogether. He needs 14 and he gets 8. So even with his +3, he failed. That cost us 2 time. Oh no, we should have done the easier thing. So that's 2 times spent and we can attempt it again. So he'll try again. He needs a 14 and he gets +4. Okay, that's 11. +4, yes, he makes it, and we are bold, and this barrier is open. We are running out of space here. We should have taken this in a different direction. Let's just say that the map went kind of like this. This would have been more intelligent, wouldn't it? To give yourself a bit more space. So that was the wooden door. This was the narrow descent. There we go. Now it's not encroaching on the characters. So that is it. We recuperate. We bring back all of these exhausted things, of which there's a lot, and we will go down this way. It's a bright entrance, but remember, we are alert and we don't even need to roll. So we can't overlap the cards, so it's going to have to go this way so that the map doesn't overlap it. And we have done 3 locations so far. Remember, 5 is the end of the scenario. As long as we can find that note, we've got the map, we just need the note. So new location, we are alert already. There is an obstacle, so let's draw until we find an obstacle. That's a foe. There we go, it's a stalagmite maze. Okay, we didn't trigger it, we are alert, so we get a +1. Marty is going to create light, as he has done so far, and get another +1. So he could use IQ, and he would need a 14, and he's got a +5 with all of his bonuses, so we'll do that. He needs to roll at least a 9, and he gets only a 7. So that's going to cost us a time, and I think we'll try it again. He gets a +5, and he needs a 14. Okay, yep, that's done. So it costs us another time. Oh, this event deck has only got 1 thing in it again. And we succeed at avoiding the trap. So there's more bats if that event triggers. Although the bat swarm is actually on the scenario, so that's not going to trigger, is it? We have a barrier if we wanted to check out this little room up here. And it's a flooded tunnel. So we can check out what's behind that. I think I'd like to take a look. We have light, so we get a +1. And I could use brawn, so I'd need a 14. I get a +2. I haven't got anything that helps me with swimming. I can get a +1 to mend. I think I'm just going to use brawn. So I need a 14. I get +1, 2, 3. So I need an 11. And I get 11. Okay, so we are now bold and not alert. But we took a deep breath. The water is icy cold. We've gone through the water-filled tunnel. And we can see what's behind that barrier in this little room now. So behind that barrier was Rockabye Maybe, an encounter. You hear wailing and see water thrashing wildly in front of you. If you wish to pass, first sing me a lullaby. So a hero has to test will or intrigue. So I think Marty would be... Oh, actually, intrigue would be better because it's -2 to coerce. I think, yes, Marty will use charm because he has mastery. with the sorting hat there. So he gets to roll 4 dice and keep the best 3. So he will use charm, he will use intrigue, charm, because he gets +1 to that, and he gets to roll the 4. So he can get rid of that 2, and he has 10, 13. So with a 13, he goes up to here. So at first the encounter would say, that was bad and you were bad. The location becomes blocked. We wouldn't want that. So at the moment, still awake, time to play. The wisp soaks you all and would cost 2 time. We do not want that. So Marty gets to try again. To go up to the next stage, he needs a 12 with his... He only gets a +1, but he is rolling the extra die. So now he gets 9, 12, +1. Yes, he makes it. Again, more. The wisp makes you sing again. So we spend a time if we end up with this result. I think he's going to go for the big roll. He needs a 15, and he only gets a +1. So that is 9. So that's 14 +1, 15. Night night. I'm tired. The wisp settles down to sleep. We stopped the wisp wasting our time. That's very lucky that Marty could do that. So that's all we found back there, but we have resolved this location. So we restore our exhausted things. And let's go down this dark entrance for the next turn. So we match up the entrances, and we need 11. We didn't sneak because for some reason I can't remember that. So we need to beat 11. So we get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we are bold. We're not alert. We just made it. So there are no foes or anything in this place, but there is a discovery. So it's either going to be an encounter or a curiosity. So we will get a lantern as a reward if we manage to do it. We get rid of the foe. Oh, the warning note. This is what we need for the scenario. So not a trial, curiosity or an encounter. And we are going to get a ton of stuff. There we go, curiosity. We have found an ancient shrine in this place. You find a shrine carved into the rocks. There is still some power to it. Something old calls out. What will you do? We can test communicate with charm. Marty can get a +2 to his communicate test. Or he can use bluff charm -2. So Marty will do this. So he will use his traveled skill. So Marty gets a +2. He needs a 10. And he gets 11. So I don't think it's friendly. You back away from the shrine. So this would cost us a time. Let's just go off. We need a 12. And Marty gets... Oh no, it was only +2 to that one roll though. Let's hope he gets a 12. He gets 11. So actually we drop back down 1. So it's in my head. The pressure is too much. Marty takes a damage. So we've resolved this curiosity. And what did we find behind the ancient shrine? Well, we found a lantern, which provides light, and you shuffle it back after the 3rd recuperation step that has passed since you found it. We have some food, which Marty could use to heal right now, actually, but he doesn't need to because we have found this warning note, and we needed these 2 things. The conditions of winning the scenario: you need to do the things that the rules told you, and you have to have a path back to the start. Why might you not have a path? Because the barriers you saw close. Like we have 2 A's and a B now, so if we had spent 1 more time, the event would have come out. Oh, this actually would not have closed any barriers. But this one would have closed the B barrier, so we would have to have another turn and come back, and actually that wouldn't stop us. If the A's happened, there we go, the next one would be A. If the A's happened, this one would be shut. We wouldn't have a path anymore. We'd have to go and open that barrier, and we would be able to get out of the caves. But that was a quick game of the first scenario of Legends Untold. There are a lot more scenarios in the game, and this is kind of, an introductory scenario. Whereas later on, there are things, draw out the enemy. Now it's time to draw out their leaders one by one, enter the caves and track down the leaders. So we have a special location and the boss foe set to one side. We have less cards in the event deck. And after we've resolved 6 locations, we get to go to the special location and fight the boss. Or there are, resolve at least 5 barriers and then find the deputy. After resolving each barrier, roll a die. If you roll a number equal to or less than the number of barriers resolved, then play the deputy. So there's a lot of different things that can go on in this, and they all, they'll all alter the game, because whichever scenario you've got will take one of the events out. But anyway, that was a quick game to give you an idea of Legends Untold. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to know what I think, you can click the link on the screen. But I'll see you for the next video. Bye, everyone.